Science Journal for Kids and Teens presents How Can Super Recognizers Help Police Investigations? Read by Miranda Wilson. Abstract. Did you know that some people are really good at remembering and matching faces? They are called super recognizers. Police want to use super recognizers to help with their cases. They could sort through camera recordings of crimes and identify criminals. But their abilities have never been tested using real police material. First, we used tests to identify super recognizers. Then we used real police material to see if super recognizers could identify criminals. We found that the tests could indeed identify super recognizers. Super recognizers did a good job at finding criminals, much better than regular people. We can use this information to help solve crimes and keep people safe. Introduction. Can you identify Jennifer Lawrence from her high school yearbook photo? Could you recognize a substitute teacher you had 3 years ago? Would you be able to identify someone if you only saw a photo of them from a weird angle? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you might be a super recognizer. Super recognizers are people who can compare and recognize faces really well. This means they are much better at putting together images of the same people and also remember people much better, even years later. We do not yet know how common super recognizers are. At the moment, researchers use a variety of tests that people can take to figure out if they are super recognizers. Unfortunately, researchers can't agree on which tests are the best, and sometimes there are pretty big differences between them. Super recognizers could be really helpful to police and detectives. Lots of cases use camera recordings to catch criminals, but a lot of police camera recordings are hard to work with. The quality isn't very good, and the angle and positions of the cameras are also limited. That's what can make it very hard to identify criminals from CCTV. Police have used super recognizers to help identify people from camera recordings in the past. We don't know if they actually do a better job than other people, though. The abilities of super recognizers had never been tested scientifically using actual police material. This includes camera recordings and police lineups. It is hard to get actual police material to test people who do not work for the police. Luckily, the cantonal police in Freiburg, Switzerland wanted to use super recognizers. They needed help solving 2 burglary crimes that were caught on camera. We jumped at the chance to test the abilities of super recognizers. The idea was that we could help the police and also learn how well super recognizers could actually catch criminals. In these photos, can you match the face on the left with one of the 6 other faces? Super recognizers can match the faces easily, even if the photos are not very clear or from different angles. Methods. We tested 118 people for our study. 66 were super recognizers we identified in a previous study, and 52 were invited as control participants. Since we did not know about their facial recognition skills, we asked the 52 new people to take 3 tests. These tests have been recommended as a possible way to identify super recognizers, and our super recognizers had already completed them. If people achieve high scores in at least 2 of these tests, they are considered to be super recognizers. We were surprised to find that of the 52 people, 7 people qualified as super recognizers. So, in total, we ended up with 73 super recognizers and 45 people with normal facial recognition skills. We asked all the participants to look at 4 videos from the cantonal police that displayed criminals committing crimes. After each video, everyone received a lineup showing 9 people, and were asked to choose which person had committed the crime. The participants had as much time as they wanted to look at the materials. At the time the study started, the first 2 recordings and lineups were from crimes that had already been solved, but the second 2 recordings and the third lineup were from the unsolved burglary cases. About 6 months later, the police had caught the person who had committed the 2 burglary cases. That meant we knew who had actually committed the crimes for all 4 cases. So, we could figure out if the super recognizers had actually done better at identifying the criminal. Results. We found that 1. The 3 tests did a good job identifying super recognizers. People who did well on one test generally did well on the others too. Here in Figure 1, you can see the results from one of the 3 tests for facial recognition skills. The maximum score on this test was 102, so scores closer to 102 mean they did better on the test. On the x-axis of the graph, you can see the test score, ranging from below 50 to 102. And on the y-axis, you can see the frequency at which people scored that specific test score. People with normal facial recognition skills can be seen in orange, and super recognizers can be seen in purple. 2. Super recognizers were better than people with normal facial recognition skills at identifying criminals. Figure 2 shows the identification of criminals from a lineup in one of the already solved cases. The black box indicates the correct identity of the criminal as person number 2. On the x-axis of the graph is the identity of the person in the lineup, numbered 1 to 9. On the y-axis is the relative frequency at which that suspect was chosen. Choices from people with normal facial recognition skills are in orange, and choices from super recognizers are in purple. Looking at the graph, how much more frequently, or often, did super recognizers correctly identify a face? And 3. The best super recognizers were more likely to identify the criminal in the unsolved burglary cases. This happened more often when they had done well on all 3 tests. It also happened more if they identified the criminals in the solved cases. This means that past success can predict future success. Discussion. Our results show that super recognizers can make a big difference in solving crimes. They do a better job identifying criminals from camera recordings than other people. We can use tests and previous success to pick the best super recognizers. We have a few suggestions to make it easier to use super recognizers in the future. 1. Create a common definition of what a super recognizer actually is. 2. Have everyone use the same tests to identify super recognizers. And 3. Measure how well super recognizers perform in policing jobs compared to their colleagues with normal facial recognition skills. Our study was small, and we need more information to make sure our findings apply more generally. Also, we should have tests to identify super recognizers that include faces with different apparent genders, ages, skin colors, and so on. This information will help us better understand the strengths and limitations of super recognizers. Conclusion. This is the first time researchers have used real police material to test super recognizers. We saw that super recognizers can be really helpful in identifying criminals. Research into how super recognizers' brains work will continue, so keep an eye out if you're curious to learn more. Do you want to know how good you, your parents, or your friends are at face recognition? There are some online tests you can take to check your ability. Remember, everyone has different strengths, so don't feel bad if you can't recognize everyone you see. Thank you for listening to this recording. This work has been adapted from the original peer-reviewed paper in the journal PNAS, published on May 9, 2023. Research conducted by Maren Mayer and Mikey Ramon from the Knowledge Media Research Center in Tübingen, Germany, and the Applied Face Cognition Lab at the University of Lausanne in Switzerland. See the full list of affiliations in the accompanying PDF. Please visit our website, sciencejournalforkids.org, for more free science teaching resources.